Nobody had seen anything, and yet everyone had begun speaking. Sometimes a mystery leaves the room before anyone understands it. The village had begun speaking, at first quietly, almost apologetically. A remark beside the fire, a question at breakfast, a glance toward the staircase. No one wished to appear foolish, yet no one wished to remain silent, for the stranger upstairs had become impossible to ignore. The events of previous days had unsettled the inn. Objects had moved, doors had opened, the room itself seemed disturbed. And though no one could explain these things, explanations had nevertheless begun appearing. The difficulty no longer lay in what people had seen. It lay in what people believed. One guest insisted he had heard footsteps long after the stranger had locked himself inside. Another claimed the floorboards had creaked when no one occupied the corridor. Someone spoke of voices. Someone else remembered a chair moving overhead. Each account differed. Each contradicted the others. And yet every conversation returned to the same subject: the room upstairs. Mrs. Hall attempted to restore ordinary life. Breakfast was served, rooms were cleaned, guests attended to their business. Yet the inn itself had changed. People listened more carefully. Conversations lowered whenever the stranger appeared, and whenever the staircase creaked, several heads turned at once. The stranger descended less frequently. When he did appear, his impatience had become unmistakable. Questions angered him. Politeness seemed to irritate him. His movements appeared hurried, distracted, and beneath the bandages and dark glasses, there was now visible something that had not been visible before: fatigue, as though the effort of remaining among other people had become increasingly difficult. Some believed him ill, others thought him dangerous. A few whispered of madness. The village possessed no explanation, and when explanations fail, imagination begins its work. One evening, several guests remained unusually late in the common room. The weather outside had grown cold. The fire burned low, and again the conversation returned to the stranger. No one spoke loudly. No one claimed certainty. Yet each person contributed something. A sound, a movement, an impression, a suspicion. The accumulated weight of these small observations gradually became something larger. Not evidence, but expectation. Above them, the upper floor remained dark. The stranger had retired early. No one had seen him return to his room. No one had heard him moving. Yet this silence itself seemed disturbing, for the house had become divided. Below, the warmth of the inn. Above, the closed room. Between them, the staircase. And no one willingly climbed it. Later that night, the sounds returned. A movement, a step, the faint creaking of boards, perhaps a chair, perhaps nothing at all. One guest sat upright in bed. Another listened from behind a locked door. Mrs. Hall herself paused upon the landing. No one investigated. And in the morning, no one entirely agreed about what had happened. One had heard footsteps, another only wind. One spoke of movement, another insisted there had been complete silence. The stories contradicted one another, yet each retelling somehow increased their power. For the villagers had begun observing not only the stranger, but each other. Who believed, who doubted, who exaggerated, who remained silent. The mystery had escaped the room. It now existed within conversations, within glances, within unfinished sentences. People who had seen nothing nevertheless felt certain that something was happening. The stranger himself appeared increasingly troubled. He avoided company. He hurried through the corridors. Several times he seemed startled by ordinary questions. The bandages concealed his face. The glasses concealed his eyes. And because no one could see him properly, everyone began imagining what lay beneath. The village had not yet encountered the impossible. No miracle had occurred. No invisible hand had revealed itself. And yet the ordinary world had already begun weakening. Certainty had begun disappearing. Rumor had begun replacing observation. Expectation had begun replacing reason. The people of Iping still believed themselves practical, sensible, ordinary. Yet every conversation now returned to the same subject. The stranger upstairs, the locked room, the unexplained sounds, and the growing feeling that something impossible had entered their lives. No one had seen the invisible man. No one had witnessed the extraordinary. But the village had already begun imagining him. And sometimes imagination arrives before reality. Sometimes fear enters a house long before the impossible itself. And in the quiet rooms of the Coach and Horses Inn, that fear had already begun taking shape.
There are moments when a mystery escapes the place where it began, not because the village had discovered the truth, but because imagination had begun replacing it. Every unanswered question found a new voice. Every silence invited another explanation. And before long, the people themselves would become part of the mystery they were trying to solve.